Good afternoon and welcome to Conversations on Showing Up for Kids. My name is Tim Markle. I'm director of the Southern Regional Center for Children and Youth with Special Healthcare Needs. Conversations Showing Up for Kids is a sort of relaxed place where we can talk about what maybe are in parents' minds or different things that families might need to know in the Southern Regional Center. And occasionally we just have a little bit of fun. So we are sitting here the Wednesday before Christmas, the day before your 24th birthday. Woohoo! And so I thought this was a fine time to catch up with my son, Hunter.
Hi.
Hunter, do you want to introduce yourself? You can talk about your disability now if you want, or whatever you want to do, however you want to introduce yourself.
My name is Tim Markle. I am this guy's wonderful 23, soon to be 24-year-old son.
Within 24 hours.
Within 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 hours now. Under 12 hours.
Technically. Time's weird.
It's relative.
Very relative. But that is not the conversation today.
No.
I am on the autism spectrum. I also have depression and severe social anxiety when it comes to large crowds or environments that I don't fully understand or know anyone in.
So we can get to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because some of that may tie in with holiday stuff. We'll see where your memories take us.
We'll see.
So we entitled this Holidays with Hunter, thinking that maybe you would have some insights or memories or something that we might be able to learn from you about holidays and celebrations. So what's like your earliest memory?
My earliest memory was from about when I was 5 to 6, and we were up at the Free State grandparents' house for Christmas. And me being a small, excitable child, I ran around and worked myself into exhaustion. But said exhaustion was actually dehydration. So I ended up going to the hospital.
Wow. You remember that?
I do remember that.
Because what do you remember about that? And why do you remember that?
I remember it because 1, you carried me into the hospital. 2, it was Christmas. And 3, it was the first time I tried Gatorade.
Yes. That whole, the rehydration with Gatorade.
Yeah, it did not work because a small child would not understand what Gatorade is. It just looked like flavored water.
What did you remember about the hospital or the experience there? Anything?
I remember the nurses were nice. I remember that the IV they gave me was not painful at all, and that their bed was really warm.
All true.
And their TV actually worked.
Yeah, you were addicted to TV.
I was addicted to TV
at that young age, which probably speaks more to my parenting.
No, it speaks to the
personality.
No, it speaks that you were a good parent because you allowed me to indulge into something that is not very positive.
Maybe, I was going to say maybe a little too much.
Depending on the shows.
True. We watched some really fun shows.
I remember the original Blue Clues.
Yeah, Blue Clues was awesome.
Yeah, it was always fun to watch over the holidays because they just such interesting holiday shows.
What did you like about Blue's Clues? What was it that really drew you to it?
As I said, they're holiday episodes, but also because I was a small child. There wasn't really much for me to watch on the television, and I could understand.
That's true. But was there anything about the show that you liked?
Salt and Pepper were always my favorite characters outside of Blues and everything.
Cool.
And the fact that, again, it was a children's show. They taught and everything on important subjects for children to learn.
Oh, you remember the other early TV that you used to really enjoy watching?
Weather.
Yes, you did. Every morning you loved to watch the weather. And who was your favorite weather person?
Charlie Shortino.
Charlie Shortino. Yes, you knew who Charlie Shortino was. No doubt about that.
Fun quick little fact. My sister's born on 4th of July. NBC asked my parents, because she was a 4th of July baby, to be there. So somewhere out there on the internet is a video of us on NBC 15, not talking about my sister, but talking about me and my like of Charlie Shortino.
It's true. We have a VHS. If we ever get a VHS working again, then we could watch that with you.
Yep.
But you loved Charlie Shortino.
I love that guy. He
Absolutely.
was such a good newscaster and everything.
He still is.
He still is.
Yeah, he's still around.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You guys are growing old together.
Yeah, he's slightly older than me, but
Slightly.
Uh,
So what else do you remember about holidays? I mean, Christmases or Halloweens, Easters, what else do you remember?
Easter was always fun to do, especially when the cousins started coming around and everything.
Yeah, so we don't have a large, I would say a large family that we celebrate with. It depends on
True.
it depends on
the
which
timing
side and the
which
timing.
side.
Yeah, because we did have those
Yeah.
huge family
We have
reunions on my
very
side.
large family.
But-
Both sides have large family
That's true.
reunions.
That's true. How did you, which isn't exactly a holiday, but
No, but it's still fun
I
to
mean,
do.
that was a lot of people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that you didn't know, you would only know a few at each
Yeah.
one. How did that go? Because you said you really didn't like large crowds and people you didn't know. How did the reunions work when you were younger? Do you remember?
Mostly, I believe I mostly stuck around you or mom or grandpa or grandma, depending on where it was. And when the cousins started growing up and everything, I hung around them because they're my cousins. I like my younger cousins.
So you were able to hang out with the people you knew
Mhm.
and that you were connected with.
Yep.
And that made being around this large group of, let's face it, loud people, no
Very
matter
loud
what side of the
people.
problem, the family we're talking about.
Very true. The
and
one
you
side is
were
a bit
okay.
louder than yours.
Yeah. But you were okay.
Oh, it also helps that it was up sometimes at grandma's and grandpa's farm and everything, so I could easily just shut myself in at the den.
So yeah, a place that you knew, and you had some place that you could always escape. It was a little harder when we go out to the parks.
Oh, 100% harder to do at the parks.
And
but
then we would just make sure
Yep.
that we were keeping an eye on you. And if it looked like it was getting a little too agitated or whatever, we just took you aside and we
Mhm.
made sure that you were taken care
Uncle Todd was also pretty good at that when I was
of.
younger.
Absolutely.
I love my Uncle Todd.
Yeah. So what else do you remember about holidays?
That Thanksgiving with your side of the family was always a fun affair planning.
That is also very true.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that? What did there thing you liked, didn't like about that?
I loved seeing everyone and everything. The one thing I didn't like about it was the whole planning stages and making sure everybody was able to come that can come, making sure that everybody had rooms to stay at and everything like that. I
Well,
didn't really
that's-
like the planning beforehand.
That's really interesting to me, Hunter, because it's not like when you're, what, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, it's not like we sat down and talked this over with you.
No,
And it was, me and mom would
Yeah.
do that planning with the family and everything. So how did that stress you out?
it started stressing me out when you guys started asking me about going and everything when I was old enough to stay at home alone
Okay.
and everything, or stay here with mom if she was going hunting or had other plans and everything. Because sometimes it was Thanksgiving with your family, other
Right.
times it was with mom's side of the family, or it was just a simple little stay-at-home affair and everything.
Stay-at-home affair or a stay-at-home affair with an invitation over to somebody else's
Yep.
Thanksgiving dinner,
Yep,
which was always fun.
which was really fun. You guys do have a really good network of
We
friends.
got some great friends out there, no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
Yeah, I sometimes think of them as extended family, not blood related, because that's what friends are to me.
Absolutely. You get to define your family. That's the
Yeah,
cool thing.
exactly.
Um,
Especially around the holidays.
So Thanksgivings. Now, it also included some Christmases and Thanksgivings included a lot of travel.
Yep.
How'd you do with traveling? Do you remember growing up how you did with traveling?
Well, mostly as a small child, it was, ooh, what's outside the window?
True.
Whoa, what could I do inside the car that won't annoy my parents?
It wasn't really us that we worried about you annoying.
No, it's mostly my sister,
Uh-huh.
but she kind of ignored me anyways, despite the annoyances.
She was hard to ignore.
Yep.
Hard to annoy at times.
Oh, she still is hard to annoy.
True. She's pretty easygoing at
She
times.
has very thick skin
Mhm.
when it comes to annoyances.
So did you enjoy traveling in car? I mean, some people don't like
I liked
traveling.
traveling in the car so long as I had something to distract me.
Okay, so needed those distractions.
Yep.
And did you like seeing, I mean, you said that you didn't like large places with crowds.
No.
but yet we constantly took you to new places.
Right. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm a strange one, okay?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's just strange, but I think it goes back to the fact that you always had mom, me, and your sister with you.
Yeah.
And so we had the consistency of the family.
Mm-hmm.
We let you know what we were going to see, very few surprises.
Very few
We let you know
surprises.
what we shared with you, where we're going, what we were planning on seeing, usually how long we were going to stay there. We set those sort of expectations.
Yep.
Even though sometimes you wanted to stay longer or Sammy wanted to stay longer, we tried to be relaxed on the trips, but we also knew we usually had somewhere to get to by the next day.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite trip? What's your favorite trip memory?
Oh, okay. Now you're making me reach into my mind. Oh, favorite trip memory.
And you know I'm going to ask you why too.
I
So
know.
try to come up with that too.
Why do you have to ask these questions?
Because it's sort of like holidays, traveling. I guess we could have done, trips with Hunter, but it sort of fits.
Oh, do I want to do the California or South Dakota?
Pick one. Pick one and tell us why you liked it.
South Dakota.
And why did you like the South Dakota trip?
One, Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore was
Mount
amazing.
Rushmore, despite the fog and mistiness, which is ironic as South Dakota and everything. But
It was fogged in.
it was
Mount Rushmore fogged in. But that also taught us
to plan ahead. Yes.
no, there's nothing we could do to plan ahead. No one's going to sit there and say, okay, well, and in a week when you're going to be out on Mount Rushmore, we're going to have fog during the day. Nobody said that.
Nobody points that out.
We drove there and we got, up the mountain and got to the viewing thing.
We could barely see it.
Yeah, we could see like the
We
peak.
could see
No
it.
faces. No faces. Maybe a little bit of hair.
A little bit of faces.
Yeah,
we
but
could see a nose or
not
two.
much. So we're like,
Maybe not.
oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Because this was planned, this was the point of the trip.
Yep. And then we discovered the reptile house.
Yes. So on the way there was this touristy attraction, the reptile house. So
Yep.
we ended up spending a few hours in the reptile
I
house.
think we spent about 2.5 hours
Do
there.
you remember anything about the reptiles that were in there, or any
okay.
memories from that?
There was, I believe, 5 different species of snake.
It's a lot of snakes.
About 4 different species of iguana, of some sort of lizards and everything. I believe there were 2 chameleon enclosures, and a lot of other information about other species out there. I discovered my love for Komodo dragons while there.
True.
They also had that amazing fake boa constrict tree viper and everything.
Yes.
That was hanging over one of the walkways.
That's right. That freaked people out.
That freaked.
This was right there.
Yep. Didn't freak me out because I love snakes. I love anything reptile.
Was that the one where you got to feed the tortoise?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so yeah, that was the tortoise.
I forgot they had
feeding
tortoises
station.
there.
It was huge and hungry.
I think it's got to be at least 50 years
I
old.
think it was a cabbage head that you got to feed it.
Yep.
Mm.
They're such interesting creatures.
So then,
and
what
then we still
noticed
got to manage to go to Rushmore.
is that we leave the reptile house and
the
all of a
fog
sudden
was
it's
gone.
sun shining. We're like, oh well, why don't we just drive back up Mount Rushmore and see if we can see it now? And we did.
And lo and behold, we did, alongside a mountain goat for
Oh
some
my
odd
gosh,
reason.
those goats were so close.
Yeah, they were
That
at
was
least
awesome.
and these half quarter of a mile away from the viewing platform.
Oh, they were closer than that, dude.
Oh, geez.
They were really close.
But yeah.
And they're like close enough that I wanted to put you on one of their backs just to see if you would ride a mountain goat, but
No,
probably not. a good
thank
idea.
you. Those things defy the laws of physics.
They do. The way that they were climbing up the side of the mountain.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
that-
That was a cool trip. Okay, but it wasn't exactly a holiday, unless you
No.
count spring break as a holiday.
Technically it is, but it
So-
usually comes over Easter.
What other sort of holidays? Let's go back to Christmas for a bit,
All
because
right.
it was. You're right. We spent not always on Christmas,
Not
usually
always on
not
Christmas.
on Christmas, but we would celebrate
Right.
Christmas with your grandparent Freestead,
Mhm.
Grandma and Grandpa Freestead, and then your aunt, your Uncle Todd, your aunt, your
Yep.
cousins,
When
and we would
they-
go up to their house.
Yep.
So how did you usually that involved dinner,
Mhm.
gift openings. It was loud. We were packed in. How did you deal with all that?
Well, usually because one, it's family, and I love my family.
True.
And two, if it was up at the grandma and grandpa Freesteads, I could easily just go into their bedroom and just watch television rather easily if I was too out there and everything, or I just didn't feel like interacting.
So we would do a little bit of forced interaction. We made you
Yep.
be with the family. Sometimes we would make you play games because we insisted it would be fun, like Don't Stop.
Oh, Don't Stop was always fun.
But then if you were starting to get a little not as engaged, then yeah, you had your space. Cool. Anything else you remember? Because we always had dinner together too.
Yep. Dinner was always nice. I usually had rolls.
You were a picky eater.
I was a
growing up,
very
weren't you?
picky eater. I usually only had buttered rolls when I was a child.
No, not for lack
Not
for
for the
lack
lack
of
of you guys
exposure.
trying.
That's right.
No,
We would
no.
put the food on
You would
your
put the
plate.
thing
We
on-
would beg
Right.
you to try it. Sometimes we made you try it, but
Yeah.
early on we noticed that if we made you try stuff, you just would have your gag reflex kick in.
Yep.
And so it just wasn't worth it.
No, it was not worth it. Oh, those green beans.
And
Those
so-
poor green beans.
Yeah. So then we just let you try stuff as you kept exposing.
Yep.
And so yeah, growing up, you had very few foods
I had very limited
that
food.
you would eat.
Yep.
What's it like today? So I mean, you grew up into an adult.
Not limited, still a bit limited, but more of an open palate.
Okay, like what do you mean?
I mean, I now eat mashed potatoes. I do.
True.
If turkey is served, I will have a little bit of the turkey. I'd still eat the rolls because who doesn't like the
Oh
rolls?
man, good hot
Ooh.
roll with butter on it.
I don't even put butter on it. I just eat it. So good.
Maybe, yeah, ooh. I think we have some rolls. We're gonna have rolls for dinner.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's delicious. And that's stop talking about food.
So, but I mean, what I'm amazed with is that back in the day, I mean, it was really hard traveling with you too, even over the holidays because
Yep.
of the fact that fast food was not your thing.
Never really was and never will be. I
Yeah.
don't like McDonald's fries. They're too stale.
Even McDonald's fries are delicious. But you wouldn't even eat their chicken tenders
Still wouldn't.
and hamburgers. And now you eat chicken,
Yep.
you eat hamburgers,
Yep.
you eat quesadillas.
Quesadillas.
So we're now able to go out places as a family and we don't have to worry about just what else, what under we eat. Macaroni and cheese. you've
Macaroni and
always
cheese.
liked.
I always love mac and
Always
cheese.
liked mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese will
Um,
always be delicious.
For a while, you really liked corn.
I still do like corn.
Okay, so corn. But there were
Just
just a
don't
number of
like
foods
corn
that you are
casserole.
eating now that you never touched back then.
Yep.
And you're doing okay. You could,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Opposite ends of the spectrum we are.
Oh, 100%.
On average, if we average our body types together, we're perfect. I'm a little too one way, you're a little to the other. Boom, smack, right in the middle, average. We're there.
No, we're definitely not average.
You're right, we are superior.
No.
Oh, okay.
We're slightly below average
Mm.
when it comes to weight standards.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll give you that. But that's sort of stuff we can work on. I
Yeah.
like having stuff that's fixable.
Yep, it definitely is.
Other stuff you remember from holidays or trips or anything else that you want to share today?
I remember our St. Louis Arch trip.
Oh, what do you
That
remember about
elevator
that?
was one, those elevators are scary. Two, it's a freaking gorgeous view. It is a gorgeous view when you get to the top.
So you were terrified,
Of the elevators? Oh, 100%.
but yet you got in it
Yep.
and we made it up a very scary
Yep.
sort of trip.
Yep.
Do you remember how you did that?
One, you were in the elevator with me.
Okay.
And two, despite how bad they look, those elevators are rather comfortable.
So it was a very small space, which I
Small
think helped
space,
you.
yes, which helped a lot.
And yeah, we basically annoyed the other people that might have been in the car because I would talk to you, I talked to you the entire way.
I don't think there were.
It's either me or Sammy. We're just constantly interacting with you, constantly talking as we were going up.
Yeah. Gosh, I
But then what
swear
was
we
the-
went 90 degrees left at one point.
It's possible. And what was the payoff?
A gorgeous view of St. Louis.
That was a wonderful view from the top of the arch.
And knowing that the descent down would be quicker than the descent up.
True, but that is scary.
Oh, 100% more scary. I still don't understand how those elevators work, by the way.
We saw a sign and they tried to explain it and
I still don't understand.
all right. So what do you love about holidays now? I mean, now you're a young adult. You
Yep.
no longer have to do stuff, but you
Nope.
choose to do stuff
Yep.
with us, which we appreciate.
Oh, 100%.
But what do you like about holidays these days?
The fact that it brings us together as family. It's one of the few times where everybody can be happy.
People seem to make an effort to be happy, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, around the holidays, everybody's just, all right, let's just shove our worries to the backside and have Thanksgiving dinner with our in-laws, even though we might hate their skins. It's the one time that we can have fun together.
I don't know anybody in our family who
No,
hate our
generally
in-laws.
speaking, not our
I love
family.
my in-laws.
I know you do, but
Okay.
some families don't.
True.
And
Some
we don't
families have
know
more
what
struggles.
families
Okay.
we are going to be
Good-
watching
good
this
point.
recording, because
point.
it's just us talking to a
Good point.
computer.
But that is something that, even growing up, as you mentioned before, is that you were sensitive to the emotions that were going on.
Still
in the
someone
room.
am.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you still are.
Still are.
Is that if there's
Hot on the
something a little
sleeve.
off, you notice it.
Yep.
And you are emotionally connected to it.
Yep.
So that's, which I think is a cool trait.
It's a
but you
very
just
cool
gotta be
trait.
aware of it.
It needs to definitely be more aware of it and everything. I am definitely empathetic when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
And oblivious sometimes as well.
Aren't we all?
True.
Yes.
Humanity.
Yes, we tend.
No
we
matter
can be
how many
oblivious to things.
inventions we have, we will always be oblivious.
Yeah, we will always have things that we miss,
Yep.
sometimes by choice, but sometimes we just miss them.
Yep.
We miss them. All right, anything else holiday wise?
Just love your family and be happy with your friends.
All right.
And that despite these holidays only lasting a single month, they're here every year.
So you can look forward and you can plan.
Yep. And you can look back and remember the good times as well.
Yeah, and remember how if you struggled with one thing, maybe you're not going to struggle with the next year. Maybe you have a plan
Mm-hmm.
to make that part of the holiday better next year.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
All right.
And fingers crossed 2022 will not be the dumpster fire that 2021 was.
Yeah, which followed the dumpster fire of 2020.
No, the dumpster fire that was 2020 was not a dumpster fire. That was an apocalyptic dumpster fire.
Okay, so the apocalyptic dumpster fire ran into the dumpster fire. And what you're hoping is that the fire gets put out and we live somewhere other than a dumpster?
No, this one gets downgraded to a hobo trash can fire.
We're hoping to at least get down to a trash. That would be nice. I agree with that.
Ain't never going to happen,
Let's
but
stop the dumpster fires and go with nice little hobo fires. Okay,
Yeah.
that's our wish.
yeah,
We're very low expectations for 2022.
so low
Really-
expectations.
Really low expectations. Oh, well, thank you so much for listening. I'm Tim. You are.
Hunter,
This is Conversations Aren't Showing Up for Kids. I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
yep. Bye, everybody.